See, I am discussing about code of conduct and code of ethics. Before that, I discussed about code of conduct of civil services so that you will understand what are the codes which are present for civil servants. Now, you have to understand why there should be code of ethics along with code of conduct. I said code of conduct are certain rules which are saying that you should do this, you should not do this, right? However, any law, like any law, it will not be exhaustive. As a result, again, there appeared a need of code of ethics for civil servants, apart from code of conduct. Now, as an initiative for this, many times they tried to come out with the rules. The first time they thought to come out is way back in 1997 in the conference of CMs. They have said that you have to introduce this code of ethics for civil servants, but it couldn't sustain. In the next, by 2006, they wanted to make it an act. The code, they wanted to make it an act, and they have come out with public service bill. And in this bill, the major points are what the code should include. The major points are, the first one is you should show allegiance to the constitution and the law. You should be abide by the law and order, right? You function in an apolitical manner to serve as an instrument of good governance, uphold highest ethical standards, ensure that public money is used with utmost economy and care, etc. Again, just like your code of conduct, more or less, this is in the ethical dimension. However, again, it couldn't pass through the parliament. Now look at this. The bill had made a provision for preparing a public service code of ethics. Now, as per this bill of 2016, they said that you should have a public service code of ethics and a strict punishment in the event of violation, along with the formation of Central Public Service Authority to administer code of ethics and other provisions of the bill. Now, there should be one body to look after whether the civil servants are following that ethics or not. For that, it also said that you should have a public service, Central Public Service Authority, so that once this code is enacted, let the civil servants decide whether they are following it or not, right? This is what the second public service bill is. So there is, for APPSC, if you are preparing for APPSC also, there is one separate chapter, Public Service Bill 2006, right? Public Service Bill is something which is related to code of ethics, right? Code of ethics. Now it prescribes that these are the codes that should be inscribed in the code of ethics for civil servants. If they are not following this, then there should be one authority to look into that, and severe punishments has to be given to them. And then that, again, it was failed. So the third initiative for code of ethics came by second ARC. Second ARC, in its report, there was a special report on second ARC for ethics in governance. And its report in personal administration has re-emphasized the need for prescribing civil services values. I said, whenever you term values, this is about code of ethics and laying down code of ethics. So again, the debate started with second ARC. Now again, there is no progress on it. Just this is like a recommendation. So this is code of ethics. Now, what are the laws that is available for a civil servant, or to ensure that there are certain codes of rules, right? PCA Act, Prevention of Corruption Act 1947. It was introduced in India for the first time during the Second World War. Why they introduced this? In 1947, the World War was going on, and then there was huge corruption in the system. Like whenever there was defense equipments, people used to, or the officers used to go and make secret packs, and they used to sell these defense equipments to the outsiders, and they used to cash money. In order to curb that, the Britishers introduced the Prevention of Corruption Act way back in 1947. That was the root for this Prevention of Corruption Act in India also, right? In order to overcome, in the backdrop of Second World War, they introduced Prevention of Corruption Act in 1947, which was amended in the year 1988. As a result, today you have this. Otherwise, you have the old law itself. Now, legal provisions, laws are there. It requires another set of laws to be made. Investigation and prosecution is the biggest challenge. So the biggest problem today is you have laws, you have, they might ask, what is the purpose of code of ethics, code of conduct? However, the laws are there, but the biggest problem is in this criminal investigation system. I said this. Remember, problems in governance. Laws are there, law execution is the biggest problem in the country. Laws alone doesn't serve the purpose. In today's newspaper, Chief Justice of India, Justice N.V. Ramana, clearly said that executive is not uh, uh, enforcing the judicial orders. Hence, laws cannot sustain. Look at today's newspaper. He has commented on executive, and that is a big comment on executive as well as the legislature. Let us see how legislature and executive will respond to CJI's speech. CJI, in his yesterday's speech, he said that legislature and executive, legislature is not paying attention when they are making the laws, and executive is not implementing the orders which the court is telling. That is why the problem is not just with the judiciary, the problem is also in the law making body and the executive body. That is what Chief Justice of India has said. We have to see how government is going to respond for that in the coming days, right? But we'll be waiting for that. But that is what the news is. That is what the thing. The second law that you have to curb corruption is you have anti-corruption mechanism, right? Central Vigilance Commission. You might have studied CVC, CBI, right? Now look at this. You have institutional framework to curb corruption. How it is there? Every department has Vigilance Commission department. And then you have Central Vigilance Commission and you have CBI officers. What does this mean? Understand this. In government, there will be different ministers or different ministries. Each ministry will have different departments, right? Ministries ఉంటాయి, ministries కింద different departments ఉంటాయి. Each department will be functioning for one activity, right? In the every department of the government office, you will have a vigilance commissioner, VC, in every department. All these departments will be headed by another. This is vigilance commissioner for that department. For that ministry, you will have one vigilance officer for the entire ministry. All these vigilance ministers will be under CVC that you study in polity, Central Vigilance Commission, right? Central Vigilance Commission. And then there will be CBI, which is a part of this CVC also. Imagine this, if you are going to some mandal headquarters to get some certificates from the MRO or some officers, in that office itself, you'll have Vigilance Commission office. There will be one officer. Like this, there will be officers in every department. They will be headed by some other person at the district level, and all these persons will be reporting to the CVC. Then you have, so this is vigilance officer. In the department itself, you have one officer to curb the corruption. Say, for example, if MRO is asking you to pay some bribe, right? In order to get your cash certificate or in order to get your income certificate, then you can go to the Vigilance Commissioner and you can say that, okay, this person is asking me money to give my document. You can register your complaint in the department itself. That is why I have written this. Look at this. In the department itself, in one part, you have one room for this. You have one room in the room. You have one room in each and every office. They will be under CVC, and this is how the organization structure is there. In India, you have organization structure. For corruption also, you can write this. Organization structure is there. But the thing is, the organization structure is there, but the execution is the problem. So it is not the laws, it is the executive which is failed. Supervisory missions are there, vigilance departments. However, they lack teeth. They require more teeth, right? For example, CBI, caged parrot, political intervention, crime is very slow, disposal of the crimes is very slow. Hence, again, they demanded for the establishment of Lokpal and Lokayukta, as CBI is failing, right? And then they had formed this institution of Lokpal. Again, you can link with the quality aspect here. In the Lokayukta, no member of a party or a minister should be a part of Lokayukta. And then they recommended that Lokpal should supervise CVC and CBI. After formation of Lokpal, They also announced that PM should not be kept outside, right? But they kept outside. Keep PM outside the Lokpal. They kept outside. But initially, when they demanded Lokpal should also, the office of PM should also come under Lokpal. But they said that no, you cannot keep them now because he is first among equals and office of Prime Minister is accountable to Parliament. As he is already accountable to Parliament, don't keep him in Lokpal. This is doing injustice or doing criticizing the office itself. No other provisions can overcome this. That is, direct responsibility in the Parliament is the highest way of ensuring responsibility rather than your CVC, Lokpal, and everything. Right? This is something which is challenging in news. So the point here is, I discussed about code of ethics, code of conduct. However, these two things alone doesn't work because you have already certain frameworks in the structure, legal authorities like Prevention of Corruption Act, CVCs, CBIs, Lokpals, Lokayuktas you have. These are the laws. Remember, there is something called laws as source of ethical guidance or good governance. Though they are present, still they are having some problems. And the next one is social infrastructure, that is enhance public accountability. Accountability should be enhanced. Now here comes how you can improve the laws by increasing the accountability. How you can increase the accountability? Through citizens charter. This is the point that I discuss here tomorrow, right? Citizens charter and role of media in ethics. Citizens charter, I discuss it tomorrow. From here we have already done. Okay. So what I wanted to say today is, those who didn't understand what I spoke, I am just giving you a short overview before I end this. I spoke about the so-called code of ethics, code of conduct, what is the difference between them. And I said why the very purpose of code of conduct has come. And then I said, is it really essential for code of ethics? Because there are three institutions or three times the initiative has come forward. However, code of ethics was not yet introduced. The last one is second ARC, which has said it. After this, I discussed what are the laws that are available to ensure that there are some code of ethics or code of conduct. Even though they are not framed, still you have certain laws and acts like Prevention of Corruption Act that we have seen, Lokpal, Lokayukta that we have seen, right? CVCs, CBIs, right? So these institutions are present. However, the problem is not in framing the laws. The problem is in the weak criminal justice system where the investigations are very low or the executive department is not doing their work properly. So this is another problem. So this is the issue with the laws. So there are some rules. Look at this point. Laws, rules, regulations, and conscience as the source of ethical guidance. Laws you have rules and regulations, but still they are insufficient. Hence, conscience should be the ultimate authority in which you can determine uh, the ethicality of an action. So this is the thing that I discussed. Tomorrow, I am going to discuss about the so-called citizens charter. This is social infrastructure. You have government infrastructure to ensure accountability, that is through acts. No, government infrastructure is not working. It has to be collaborated by social infrastructure, where civil servants or civilians themselves become a part of the government and they will ensure that yes, government is functioning properly. For this, you have the so-called citizens charter, transparency, RTI that we'll discuss tomorrow. I hope you got some sense. Yes, I'll share this document. And Ravali, I think it is only your paper which is pending. Sorry, from the last 4 days, I am not available. I was engaged in some other work. Definitely, I'll correct your papers by today. Sure, I'll send it.